Hey everybody, it's Jerry with jerryhillphotography.com, and I got my very first tutorial on how I made this image. My wife always has a theme or an idea for what we should do for our holiday cards. Last year we did a Real Housewives, maybe not Real Housewives, but a reality TV style card, which in all actuality, this one is kind of the same. Put a picture of the card up there so you can kind of see what we reference. However, this is what we did, and this is how I got it. So the card has a lot of light from the left-hand side, which I'm going to try to emulate. We're here in my lovely living room, which has a really big bay window off to the left that lets a lot of natural light in. However, the camera settings we're going to use today isn't going to allow that light to be effective in any way, shape, or form. So got my big old 7-foot round softbox out. And I got a couple of speed lights back there on stands, and we're going to set up the picture. So, first things first. I'm going to try to emulate the light from the window with this big old softbox. That's my dog Holly, and that's my wife Jane. The idea with the speed lights on the back is I'm going to use my ceiling that's at that angle there for a little bit of bounce and a little bit of hair light and a little bit of separation from that backdrop. Because what we're going to be doing in the end is cutting out the main picture and compositing it onto another picture to make it look like we're there, right? So you can see I had a few things there. That white piece of paper, I was like, hey, I'm going to bounce this white light off and fill in those shadows. But I felt that was a fool's errand, especially when I have, a couple more lights out there. So I'm going to move my speed lights over. You can see earlier I tried to bounce the tall one off the wall. Wasn't giving me what I was looking for. So I got one out now, bouncing off the ceiling. And then I got the one down short with a little soft diffuser dome on it. And that's going to give me what I'm looking for to fill in the shadows on the other side. So first things first is the pups. We get them in. We get a couple of shots of them, which we'll later cut out. That's Holly. She's a good girl. She's about 1 year old. And then this is up next is going to be Diamond. She's my old girl. She's about 11 years old. And she's the sweetest girl in the world. Where's she at? There she is. Okay, so now it's time for Jane. She has on her sparkly dress, looking lovely. I have on my one and only suit. Believe it or not, I used to have like 10 suits when I worked in the corporate world, and now I just have that blue one, which desperately needs to be altered to accommodate my round tummy Tom. Anyhow, so I'm using the Control app, which I think it's called Control or Creator Studio actually, for the Sony camera systems, and it lets me shoot remotely. I got a 2-second delay on it, and it lets me hit it, and I have my hand, take a look, and we take a bunch until we find one that we like. After we get all our pictures taken, the next thing we're going to do is cut them all out in composite. So I'm going to drop these all into Photoshop. And I got Holly there, and I got to get her out. And at first I was going to drop them all as layers and mask them off and erase them, but we did move the light a couple of times. So I figured cut them out, position them where I need them, and then go from there. Okay, so the next thing is that the dogs were shot on separate layers, and you can see up under Diamond there, it looks like she's just sitting on something. So I'm going to brush in some shadows to make it look a little bit more authentic. Up next, we're going to cut out the backdrop. Right there, I'm using the Smart tool. Really wasn't giving me what I wanted. I used the magic wand. Really wasn't giving me what I wanted. Next, I was going to try to draw a line around. Really wasn't giving me what I wanted. So I went back to the old tried and true and just select some big areas, knocked them on out, and then went in and did some fine detail using the magic wand tool. So I wanted to use the Adobe AI that comes in Photoshop, and by no fault of its own, and it's all me, I don't know the prompts, and I don't know the proper wording to get what I'm looking for. Every once in a while, I'll find something nice, but in this situation, I could not get the Adobe generative AI to deliver a background in the way that I want it to. So Ultimately, I decided on getting a picture from the internet and compositing it. So now that I got my image in, we were going for a really regal kind of castle look. One can dream that they live in a castle. So I got it down there, and the image, it's a little bit washed out as far as color wise. So in Photoshop, I brought down our color saturation to kind of match the image. Cleaned up all of my crops and lines and all the debris in the background. Bring it over into Lightroom after I get everything cleaned up all nice and pretty. A little bit of a drop shadow there to make it kind of blend a little bit nicer with the background. And then I go to work here in Lightroom. And this is where I blend everything together. I know you can do it in Photoshop. However, I'm not as proficient in Photoshop when it comes to making all of these adjustments. I want to talk about that thing I just glanced over real quick there with the purple and the yellow. That's the bokeh effect in Lightroom, and it lets you adjust the depth of field, kind of like as a camera would. And I use that to make the background set a little bit nicer with the fallout, because the whole background was sharp, and I wanted it to have a nice soft fallout off as if it was shot in camera. Last but not least, I go in and I'm going to, adjust the lightness of the background, our faces, the dogs, everything to make them all nice and crispy. Give it a little bit of a vintage look. After I get my light correct, that's when I would go in and see if I have any presets or anything I have saved that can make quick work of giving me a few different looks. I knew that Jane, my lovely wife, would love a few different options to pick from to make our final holiday card. So I went in, I picked a few. I picked 6. I delivered them to her, the hardest client, and she settled on the one I'm going to show you next. So that's how I took this picture from in my living room to in the halls of some fancy place with my wife and my dogs. Let me know what you think. Was it good? Was it gas? Or was it trash? If you have any questions, comments, tips, or anything like that, let me know. I'm easy to talk to. You can't hurt me. Well, you probably can hurt my feelings, but I don't know if I'd let you know or not. But drop your comments, let me know what you thought about this. And yeah, hopefully I can do more stuff like this, because I really do enjoy talking about photography and shooting photography, and more than anything, sharing it with anyone who wants to look at it. So thanks again. For more images and anything else, visit jerryhillphotography.com. I am Jerry Hill, obviously, and I will talk to you later.